Crystal's Yoga here. Welcome to this headstand tutorial. I want to show you two variations of headstand and how to safely enter. So the first one is intro into headstand, and that is your tripod. That's the one that I would recommend for any newbies who are just learning headstand. It is easiest to get into, but it's harder to stay in that one because there's so much pressure on the top of the head. Whereas your supported headstand is a little bit trickier to hold. There's more stability that's required, but that one, once you get it, there's no pressure on the head at all, and you can hold it for several minutes once you get the hang of it. So here we go. We're going to start in tripod. There's a few different entrances that you can come into when you're coming into your tripod or your teddy bear headstand, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So if you're coming into it from a wide-legged forward fold, if you have the hamstring opening, that's a perfect place to get into it. Sometimes we don't quite have the hamstring opening, and I don't think everyone realizes how open our hamstrings have to be to get into a headstand. So we'll start in the teddy bear version. So your head is going to come onto the earth. Let's say my head is here, and then my hands are actually going to be pretty far back. So I'm going to create this perfect little triangle, this tripod, head onto the earth, hands way back here so I can see my hands. I definitely don't want them beside my face. I want them back by my knees. And then we have the toes curled under, and you're going to place the top of your head onto the earth as if you were wearing headphones. That's the placement. And then you would pick the hips up. And then what I would recommend is we just start with placing one knee onto the tricep or onto the elbow. And then you walk the other foot in and you place that knee on to the tricep. And then perhaps one toe can start to lift. And then maybe we can start to lift the other toe. So this is headstand, this is teddy bear. This is a beautiful entrance into your tripod headstand. And then from here, this is where you can play with starting to explore lifting one leg. Maybe you can place it back down. Maybe you feel strong enough to lift the other leg and then bringing it back down. And then maybe we can get the strength to lift both legs into your full tripod. Okay, so coming slowly out of this, I want to show you second entrance into the same headstand, and that would be from your wide-legged forward fold. And I will come into it sort of with my back facing you, and hopefully you can see the variation. So head on the earth here, and my hands are going to be back. So again, I have this wide stance. Definitely don't want my hands too close to my head. And then again, you can come into it with the knees onto the elbows, just like we did in teddy bear, where you're lifting and pulling them in like this, okay? Or the second variation is to press up onto those tippy toes and a little float. And the legs can come up together in sort of like a straddle lift, slowly lowering all the way back down. So that is your tripod headstand, and that's where I would recommend. And of course, use a wall if that's where you feel safe, or you can have pillows around you as well, your bravery pillows. The second is your your supported headstand, and that is the one where we have this little basket. Our elbows are very close together. We want to make sure that they're not too wide. Of course, as humans, we think wider, more stable, more balanced, which is true, but we want stability. And stability, we got to come closer to the center. So most teachers will recommend bringing your hands to your elbows for distance. So that's sort of the distance. And then I would recommend from here, actually bring your elbows a little bit closer, because once you get into it, the elbows tend to move out a little bit. So starting again with this little basket. Okay, we find that distance with the forearms, planting your hands into this little basket, and then bring your elbows in just a little closer. Top of the head goes on the earth, again, where you would have your headphones. I have a little bit of space between the palms of my hands and the back of my head. Some teachers, some students close the gap. I like to have a little gap there. And then pick the hips up, walk the tippy toes in. All the weight is in my hands and my elbows. There's
barely any weight in my head at all. And then here's where we can maybe just start to play with what it feels like to lift one leg and then the other. Maybe you bend one knee and bring it in. Okay, there's lots of variations. There's pike, there's tuck. I like to do sort of like a swing up of one leg into my headstand. And again, I would recommend actually filming yourself so you can see the straight body or not. Lots of students come into their headstand and they have this angle with the toes and they think they're straight and then not realizing that they need to send their feet way back. Feels like you're just about to tip over, and that's sort of how you know where your balance is. So yes, I would recommend using a wall for support to start. Eventually, we do want to move away from the wall. And then go ahead and film yourself. If you're going to do it in the middle of the room and you have a headstand, but it doesn't feel totally stable, throw your camera on, take a peek at yourself, see where your angle is. I hope these tips helped you. And if they did, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.